Hello, and welcome to episode 12 of the Rise Fitness and Nutrition Podcast. I am your host, Carlo. Today we're gonna go through the remaining 5 things I wish I knew when I started lifting and caring about my nutrition. With how many of the previous week's points can you relate? Let me know. I am really curious to hear that. So without much further ado, let's dive in. Happy listening, everybody. Alright, continuing from last week. Number 6. It doesn't matter how hard you train, if your nutrition is not aligned, your progress will suck. And I can't stress this out enough. Let me use an example. If you decide to go on a simple hike, you probably won't go wearing flip-flops and swimwear or stiletto heels or a suit, the same way you won't wear hiking gear at the beach or at night out instead of your best clothes. This is exactly what training very heavy but having poor nutrition, or having nutrition on point but training very inconsistently or with poor routine means. Both ways will surely give you progress to some degree, but in a much more inefficient and dissatisfying way they would do if they were aligned. And I want to specify aligned here, not perfect. Perfection is very hard to achieve and more than often quite difficult to maintain, so aim for a situation in which you train hard, eat well, and you do this for the majority of every month, and I promise you that results will come and they will be better. Remember, progress makes progress. Aim for it instead of aiming for perfection. Number 7, one of my favorites. Sleeping is your greatest ally, both for nutrition and for training. Dude, I can sleep 6 hours per night and accomplish a lot during the day. You should try. Stay very far away from whoever suggests you that having around 6 hours of sleep per night is a great idea no matter what. If you're debating, should I wake up at 4 a.m., should I wake up at 5 a.m., my answer is yes, if you have adequate amount of sleep. Otherwise, let me give you just a couple of facts to help you understand why sleeping around 6 hours or less is a very bad idea. First of all, there's a 200%, yep, you heard me right, a 200% increase in the likelihood of heart attack or stroke among adults 45 years or older who sleep fewer than 6 hours a night. Now I know you might be thinking, well, I'm younger, who cares? Well, no, not exactly. Yeah, sure, maybe the percentage is a little lower, but still, 200% increase, it's not something to ignore. Secondly, if you're sleep deprived, you can actually end up eating more and with poor food choices. Well, how much is more? Well, there is a study that shows an example of around extra 600 calories a day that found their way into the diet of the participants. Now, how much is 600 calories? I don't know, take for example a light breakfast with some cereals and milk, an apple, and a meal with chicken breast, a potato, a little bit of butter for the seasoning, and broccoli. But this is made with good food choices. Imagine the same quantity can be, for example, an extra half pizza or a cup of high-end ice cream. Now, where there's nothing bad inherently about having half a pizza or a full pizza or a cup of ice cream, if they fit in your diet, what's tendentially bad is having those extra calories on top of your calories just because you are sleep deprived. Think about it. When we sleep, our body goes through maintenance. That means that if we worked out hard, for example, your body will have muscle damage to fix to allow recovery and muscle gain in the long term, as well as help you perform the best the following day and stay injury-free. When it comes to nutrition, when you're in dreamland, your body regulates the hormones related to the way we store the nutrients that we eat during the day. Needless to say, a disrupted sleep will hinder both systems, leaving you unable to do your very best the following day on the floor in the gym or wherever you're training, and also in the nutrition part, where your body will have troubles assimilating correctly what you eat. And sorry, no, coffee doesn't help. It just offers a temporary fix, just like putting a post-it on a wall crack wouldn't do much. How many hours should you aim for every night? Well, the recommendations generally are between 7 or 8 hours per night. Find the sweet spot for you and try to keep it up. It's 100% a good idea, And I myself have noticed changes in my training performance and recovery the moment I started working on sleeping around 7.5 hours per night. Number 8. Strength training and lifting heavy is actually very good for you. When I was a teenager, I never had a chance to go to any gym. And I also had no idea of how to do anything at a gym, first of all. But secondly, I was concerned that lifting heavy would have been stunting my growth, because I really wanted to be tall. And spoiler alert, I didn't become a giant no matter what. But also because I was concerned that I would have a lot of muscles, I would become like enormous, like a bodybuilder all of a sudden. And I didn't think, and I still think, that doesn't look attractive or functional at all. And lastly, I had a misconception that when you go to the gym, you have to take supplements and become like a beast, which again is not true. And besides, the supplements you take when you go to the gym are not going to turn you into a beast, not at all. Those are illegal steroids that people take because they have very little confidence in themselves. Let's say it this way. So the reason why I wanted to work out, I wanted to train, is because I wanted to be muscular but lean, very lean. Therefore, I was trying to find a way to lose fat and still be muscular. So then I started studying. I started educating myself to understand if this is possible, and if it is, how it can be done. And the answer it is yes. There are things that you can do to lose fat, but grow muscles and improve strength at the same time. Or if at least don't grow muscle, at least don't lose them. It is difficult, but it can be done. It's a delicate balance, but again, it can be done. And what do you basically need? You need to do strength training. And yeah, potentially lifting weights. Not necessarily super heavy, but I would say weights. And this is mostly because there's a long list of benefits coming from these two. So one for all, simply not losing muscles if you're in a calorie deficit and want to lose fat. This means, in the long term, body recomposition, which happens when your body weight doesn't necessarily change much, but the ratio between muscle and fat does evolve. As a consequence, you end up being leaner but with more muscles and strength you would have by just endlessly running on a treadmill or around your local park or Emperor Palace if you're in Tokyo. Wink. Do you necessarily need cardio for body recomposition? Well, not really. Work on your nutrition and add strength training and you're on the way. But, as I mentioned before, cardio is essential for your cardiovascular health, and especially if it makes you feel good and love it, by any means, please go ahead and enjoy it. Number 9. Hopping from training plan to training plan is just silly. You gotta confuse your muscles every workout with different routines to make it grow. No. That's silly, and why is that? Well, because if you keep on changing the way you train the same muscles without allowing them to grow some adaptations to it, you're losing chances to build them and improve their strength. An example to better understand? It is the same as having 20 books at home and reading one page of it a day randomly, and then complain that you can't finish any in a reasonable amount of time, and then also that you can't remember or learn anything consistently. The same is with strength and muscle growth. But hey, I am no saint. I'm guilty of doing this often. When I was younger, I was trying a training schedule for a couple of weeks, maybe twice a week or 3 times a week, and then hop, on to the next one over and over. Guess what? I didn't achieve any particular strength or muscle growth. The thing is, when I did the opposite, I did notice great improvements. That is to say, when you actually focus on a training plan and stick to it consistently, hitting the same muscle groups around 2 times a week, improving the form and the weight, or the reps if you go body weight only, you will have results, no questions asked. So if you are doing hip thrusts and demand to have a juicy booty in 1 week or 2, and you experience no results but skip to another routine, you're just wasting your time and energy. Decide a goal, get a plan, stick to it, and boom! There you go. Last advice, don't treat your training plan like an Instagram scroll. It's not worth it. Here we go, last on the list, number 10. Sore doesn't necessarily mean you are getting stronger. Delayed onset muscle soreness, aka DOMS, aka the burn you might feel 1 or 2 days after a heavy workout, might not necessarily imply that you are getting stronger. Having DOMS is a signal that there is muscle damage and that the muscle has to repair itself and grow stronger, but as they might happen aggressively and more frequently when you begin a training routine, they should also slowly fade away the more your muscle adapt to it and become more powerful. If you are constantly sore to the point that, for example, it's impairing your training, chances are you might be program hopping, as they say. So basically not training consistently, or maybe in some cases overexerting yourself and thus exposing yourself to injury. Keep this in mind and don't do as I did in the past, which is chase the soreness instead of the growth. The stronger you become, the lighter the soreness will be. Sure thing, you might feel some burn here and there, but not to the point that sitting on the toilet or climbing a set of stairs feels like a nightmare on Elm Street. And that's it for today's list. How many of these overall can you relate with? I really hope that this chart can be useful to you so you can avoid the mistakes I did already when I was young and made the progress better. If you enjoyed today's episodes, a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts would be very much appreciated. For any comment, follow me on thecarl.fit on Instagram. Thank you everyone.